Meeting the Canby Planning Commission to order. First order of business, wishing everybody a happy new year. So we'll start with an invocation. Chris?
Father, thank you for gathering us here. We ask for your wisdom and your guidance as we listen. We are servants, Lord, and we just ask for your help. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Is there any citizen input on non-agenda items? Does everybody have an agenda? Okay. We have minutes from the Planning Commission meetings on December 14th and December 28th to approve. Has everybody had an opportunity to read those minutes? I'll entertain a motion to approve the December 14th, 2015 minutes.
Chair, I move we approve those minutes.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I will entertain a motion to approve the Planning Commission minutes of December 28th.
I would move that we approve December 28th Planning Commission meeting.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So right now we're going to consider a request from Premier Gear for a site and design review and conditional use permit for a new industrial development located at 387 South Sequoia Parkway, DR 15-07 /CUP 15-04. The matter presently before the hearing body requires a public hearing. All interested persons in attendance shall be heard on the matter. If you wish to testify on this matter, please be prepared to step forward to the microphone at the appropriate time. State your name, mailing address, and interest in the matter. For those people other than the applicants that are interested in testifying as either proponents or opponents, please sign in on the sheet or speak up when we call for testimony. For longer presentations, proponents and opponents may buy time from one another. In so doing, those either in favor or opposed may allocate their time to a spokesperson who will represent the entire group. You may be limited by time for your presentation. Generally, the applicant will have a total of 15 minutes to speak. The proponents will be given 5 minutes each, the opponents will be given 5 minutes each, and those thought to be neutral on the matter will be given 5 minutes each. The applicant will then have 10 minutes for a rebuttal. All questions must be directed through the chair. Any evidence to be considered must be submitted to the hearing body for public access and to become a part of the record. All written testimony received both for and against prior to the hearing shall be summarized by staff and presented briefly to the hearing body during the staff report. Testimony and evidence must be directed toward the applicable review criteria contained as indicated in the staff report, the comprehensive plan, or the applicable land use regulations which the person believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue may preclude appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Failure of the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow the local government to respond to the issue may preclude an action for damages in circuit court. Everyone present is encouraged to testify, even if it is only to concur with previous testimony. At this time, I would ask that any member of the hearing body who has a conflict of interest to please indicate the nature and extent of the conflict and whether you intend to participate in or abstain from the hearing, from hearing the present matter. Okay. Also, if any member of the hearing body has had any ex parte contact with anyone prior to this hearing, including a visit to the site, please declare the nature and extent of such contact at this time.
Drive by the site all the time.
You drive by the site, so drive-by sighting. Okay. The public hearing will be conducted as follows. Well, does any member of the audience have any questions for any commissioner regarding conflict of interest or ex parte contact? Okay. The public hearing will be conducted as follows. First, we're going to have the staff report, then questions, if any, by us. Then we will open the public hearing for testimony, and the applicant will have not more than 15 minutes, proponents not more than 5 minutes each, opponents not more than 5 minutes each, people that are neutral not more than 5 minutes each, and then there will be rebuttal by the applicant not more than 10 minutes each. We will then close public testimony. We'll have more questions, if any, from us. Then we will have discussion and deliberation, and no additional testimony will be allowed unless specifically allowed by me. Then a decision shall be made by the hearing body at the close of the hearing, or the matter will be continued to a date certain in the future. This will be the only notice of that date you will receive. Does anyone have any questions about the procedure and the outline for this meeting? Okay. Moving forward, Brian, it's all about you, my friend.
Thank you, Chair Savory, and welcome, Commission. This request involves two different applications. We have our site and design review, and then there's also a conditional use application that's associated with this request. And as pointed out in the staff report, that's related to the fact that up front, they indicated they would not be meeting our encouraged requirement to have 12 employees per acre. And I know some of you on the commission are eminently familiar with that provision. Because there was a text amendment to propose lessening or doing away with that requirement as potentially being too restrictive, but we did get direction from the City Council to continue to use that as a goal to try to reach that level, and having the flexibility to interpret and use it when appropriate, when it's less. And so that's why we have the conditional use permit along with this request. The property is located at 387 South Sequoia Parkway. Some people in town might know that as a city-owned property that was the site many, many years ago of original proposal for a police building. And the city has been marketing that property for the past several years, and we found what we think is a really excellent tenant for that property in Premier Gear and Machine Works, which is the proposal that's before you tonight. That proposal is to build a manufacturing facility along with their corporate offices of 60,000 square feet. And then they've indicated on the site plan a future 20,250 square foot addition that could be added at some time in the future. And so it's very helpful for them to do that all at once and show that their expansion, even in the future, could fit on the site very well and could potentially make the review at that time easier by having shown it and how it can fit on the site today. We did get two additional public input items, so before I forget them, which I might do if I don't do that now, I was going to read one of them into the record since I didn't make copies for you since it came in so late. This is from Trend Business Center, specifically from Scott McCormick, the development manager. That is the building that's and property that's located directly to the west property boundary along Sequoia Parkway. And they indicated that they own the Trend Business Center located in Pioneer Industrial Park that consists of 3 buildings and future plans for up to 3 more buildings. We will be Premier Gear's neighbors to the west as we share the common property line. We fully support Premier Gear's application and think they would be a great neighbor and a great addition to the Canby Pioneer Industrial Park and to the city of Canby. We agree with the staff's report's findings that Premier Gear, quote, will offer solid, good-paying manufacturing jobs, and we see no concerns with their being under the employment density criteria. We think they will be very beneficial to the overall economic diversity and the vitality to the city of Canby. Then we had another input from Don Steiner, who is with our wastewater pretreatment program, and he indicated that they had done some research on this manufacturing facility, and they had talked with Brian Laurent about them, and Premier is considered a non-permitted industry with the city of Portland currently, and that's because all of their cooling and cutting oils are recycled for use. Therefore, they've concluded that no inspection will need to be done, and well, actually, they will do an inspection once they start operation to confirm that they have a recycling of their products and they do not go into the city's sanitary sewer system. So I thought I'd share that with you. The proposal has a driveway, 2 driveways, one at each corner of the site, one at the northwest corner of Sequoia Parkway, and one down at the southeast corner as the road curves around. They have, early on during the pre-application process, they identified the most suitable driveway locations to function well for their on-site circulation, and that would also meet the city's driveway separation standards. There was a traffic study done for this proposal, and the city is, and as we usually do, developed a scope of work, and then they hired Brent Arend, who I believe is here tonight, to do the traffic study. When he submitted that, our traffic engineers that work for the city reviewed his study, had a couple brief questions. They responded with answers to those, and we've accepted the findings in that traffic study. And basically, they give some indication of the amount of traffic to be generated and indicated that there'd be no significant impacts to the surrounding transportation system. On the conditional use permit portion of the application, staff basically indicated that we supported the applicant's findings in his narrative and added that statement in there that we thought that the proposal fits with the use in the park very well, and the fact that there's less than 12 employees per acre is supported by the fact that these are solid, good-paying manufacturing jobs. And this particular industry fits well with the marketing efforts that the city's been putting out to grow and expand our cluster of machine-type uses within our industrial park. So moving on from there, their site and design review clearly met all of the development standards that were in our code. We had some discussions at our very first pre-application meeting with them that made it clear that they were right on top of all the development regulations and were clearly going to make an effort to meet all of them. On the conditional use permit, there really isn't anything to focus on but the 12 employees per acre. I think I'm just going to close there and just summarize that we had recommended approval of this, subject to, let me count them, 9 conditions of approval. And if you have any questions about those, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Brian. Then we'll hear from the proponent. Please state your name and your address.
Hello, my name is Mark Person. I'm a land use planner with McKinsey, 1515 Southeast Water Avenue, Suite 100, Portland, Oregon 97214. I just want to thank this Canby staff, Brian, and the planning commissioners for their time tonight. I don't have a whole lot to add to the project. I think Brian did a good job of summing up our proposal. I do want to say that we have from the McKinsey team, Dale Poppy, project architect, Brent Aaron, transportation engineering. We have Mike Wells from Stratus Developers, and then we also have Russ Cole, president of Premier Gear, which I think we'd like to have come up and maybe just tell us a little bit about the company. Has a pretty interesting background, and then we can answer any questions that the commissioners might have.
Okay.
I'll start, Russ.
Good evening. My name's Russ Cole. I'm with Premier Gear and Machine Works. We're at 1700 Northwest Thurman, Portland 97209. We're a third-generation family business. I've been in Portland since 1923. We started out in a garage doing blacksmithing and auto repair. Currently, we manufacture all types of metal goods, plastic goods for industries of all types. From the plywood industry, we manufacture veneer lathes and associated equipment for that, but most of our work is in general repair work for industry, specialty gears, everything from about a ½ inch in diameter up to around 24 feet. We've built gearboxes for the locks on the John Day Dam, gear replacements for a number of the dams up and down the Columbia for their spillway gates, as well as all over the country. We do up tower wind turbine generator repairs on their yaw rings and drives. We employ about 26 people right now, and everything from manufacturing to design to systems control processes for the plywood industry. I'm not quite sure what else you need. We'd really like to come to Canby. We've been in Portland for forever, but the Pearl District is getting really crowded.
Yes, it is. Do you have any questions for the gentleman? Yes, sir.
So you are totally relocating from your present location?
Yes.
When this facility's
Yes.
complete?
Well, my business too is down there as well. Yes, it is getting very crowded. So,
it is.
Yeah. Welcome to Clackamas County.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the gentleman? So are all 26 of the employees that you currently have moving out to Canby? Would they all be moving here?
With the exception of 2. We have 2 field service people, one who lives in Wairika, California. He does our mechanical field service, and another gentleman who does our computer design and programming, and he lives and works out of Seattle. When you spend most of your time traveling all over the country and the globe, it doesn't matter where you start from. But yes, 24 of us would be coming out.
Okay, great. So Brian mentioned that you have plans to build another building at some future date, possibly?
It's a possibility. We started out on about an eighth of a block in 1925, and over the 90 years since then, we've grown to about a block and an eighth, and it's gotten very, very crowded inside our building as we've added machinery, and so the 54,000 feet of manufacturing space will be a godsend, and we hope to be able to expand beyond that in the future.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more proponents? Please state your name and address once again.
My name is Dale Poppy. I'm with McKinsey, 1515 Southeast Water Avenue, Portland, 97214. I want to give you a brief overview of the site plan. I brought a colored site plan so you'll be familiar with the project. As we pointed out previously, the project is on Sequoia Parkway. The proposal is for a 54,000 square foot manufacturing building with about 6,240 square feet of office off the front. The future expansion that was described is at the back of the site here. The building is set up so that parking will be in the front. It's also convenient that the site grades drain to the corner here, so we'll have our water quality pond. It'll be nicely landscaped so that it has a nice presence on the street and really sets the building up nicely that way for the rest of the neighbors. The primary driveway will be at the northwest corner of the site, and the trucks for delivering and shipping materials. Actually, the building is designed to flow through, so that trucks will be able to actually drive through. They'll have bridge cranes inside to be able to move product on and off, and then they'll exit the site. The future expansion would do a similar. Likely a similar movement that way, where you'd physically be able to move through the site quite easily to bring product in and out. They'll have an area at the back of the building which is fenced off for security purposes. Premier Gear at this point doesn't foresee having extra yard storage. Most of their product would rust if it's left outside, so it's beneficial to have it indoors. We do have a few trees that are existing on site. There's not a whole lot of them there, but we've made efforts to retain, I believe we're retaining 6 trees, so we're only losing a couple to accommodate the new project. Our landscape percentages actually exceed, even with the expansion, will exceed the current minimums. We feel the project will nicely fit in the neighborhood. The building will be a concrete tilt-up building, so it's very similar in character to the other buildings that are in the neighborhood. The warehouse or the manufacturing area will be a taller structure. It'll be 30-foot clear inside of there to accommodate the cranes. So I think the top of the parapet will be in the neighborhood of about 36 feet, which is under the 45-foot maximum. The office will be just a single-story structure up front, so it's much smaller.
Okay. Is it?
That's it.
Any questions from the gentleman? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more proponents? Again, please state your name and address.
My name is Mike Wells. I'm the founder of Stratus Real Estate Developers. Address is 9450 Southwest Gemini Drive in Beaverton, Oregon. And I'm the developer for the project. And I just wanted to make a couple remarks. One is that this would be the 4th project for me to do in Canby. I did the Boco Industries building that's now occupied by Old Castle. And then I did what is now Anderson Springs building, originally for Mountain Glass, and also did the Wilco Farm Store. Russ and I have a real complicated deal structure here because he's accomplishing a 1031 exchange from selling the existing Premier Gear building in Portland. We spent a lot of time with our attorneys up front and got it squared away. So timing has been important for us, and we appreciate that staff was able to move through the staff report in a timely way, and we certainly hope that this body will approve this project so we can continue moving forward and the dominoes can fall into place. There were 9 conditions of approval recommended by staff, and we've looked through that with the McKenzie team. We think we can live with all 9 of those. Probably one of the more challenging ones will be putting all the landscaping in place prior to occupancy, which we think will be in the winter time, but we'll work to get that accomplished to the extent we possibly can. So with that, I'll just leave it if you have any questions.
Questions? Okay, thank you very much. Any more proponents? Well, not, okay. Please state your name and address.
Renata Mengelberg, Economic Development Director for the City of Canby. I'm delighted to have Premier Gear here and to be working with a quality developer like Stratus Development. This is a great company, obviously very successful and stable. They're making the traded sector products. That is our goal in economic development, to try and attract. They add to our metals industry cluster, so we're excited about that. They're technically skilled jobs, so well-paying and stable. And we also appreciate the company and the developer's willingness to work with the city around water rights. There's an existing well on the site that we're in negotiations with Canby Utility to transfer over to, so adding to the greater public good some backup water for the Canby Utility service. So for all those reasons, I encourage your support of this project.
In reading through this, I thought there were 2 wells.
On this particular site, there's just the one. That's right?
Or they're side by side.
Yeah, that's right.
There's 2 pipes sticking up from one well.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much. Any questions for Renata? Thank you very much. I think we've run down the gamut of just about everybody that could be a proponent. Any opponents? Or neutral?
I guess it's neutral.
Okay. If you could step forward, state your name and address.
My name is Kathy Polly. I live on South New Era Road, 12678. It's an Oregon City address, Canby School District, Beaver Creek Clark's Fire Department, out in the middle of nowhere. First of all, my husband and I own land that is directly across from the southeast exit of the proposed building. We are very happy to have Premier Gear coming into the park. The only thing that could have been better if they'd have bought our land instead of the city's, but you know how that goes. But they'll raise land values and create other interests in the park, because the land values have been going down with some short sales and things. But the one concern that we have is that our 2 lots are smaller there, and we were only allowed 1 entrance exit. So we put that entrance exit where the 2 lots join. And that happens to be directly across the street from the proposed exit here.
Yeah, the one down in the southeast corner?
This one right here.
Right. Okay.
And as long as the traffic study and ODOT don't raise red flags about that, that's fine. But we were concerned that at some future time, it might be decided by city bodies that that had to move, and if that were the case, it would make one of our lots not saleable or less saleable. And I realize that we have somebody kicking the tires that that would no longer be a problem, but there hasn't been any paperwork signed, no offers, and no money, so Milgard at one time got way farther than our current deal and decided to go somewhere else. So we just are concerned that maybe we could get something in writing from the city that says that it's not going to be changed on us without our approval, that our access that we currently have is not changed on us without our approval.
I don't think that is in our purview, Sean.
I don't know about that either. I see your issue, though. 'Cause see, here's the lots. That's the two lots.
Uh-huh.
So this driveway is coming out.
I see.
So is she talking about the property directly to the south of this one?
Yeah.
has the two lots.
The two pieces.
Yeah.
Is that correct? The two,
Yes.
just
On
south of the
on the
driveway?
same side of the street?
But we're
To the east.
Across the
Across,
Across the street.
we're right here.
oh, okay, that's why,
I think we're showing that there's a driveway right there, yeah. we
Yeah,
put it on our-
that's it.
On our plan.
That's it.
So they're not directly aligned, but
So what your concern is that at some future date that the city or this body here would find that you might have to move your current
Correct.
driveway
Correct.
that services both of the lots?
Correct.
Your lots, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
that driveway isn't being used today, it's just there to serve in the future.
It is not being used at this point. The sidewalks are in, the ramp is in for access, and it's all gone through all the process to do it legally.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're just concerned that if that were to be moved, it would cause one lot not to be saleable.
Yeah, it's likely that that's an ideal location for a driveway in terms of a common sharing of the tax lots. And so it's not likely to be moved unless a development proposes to move it, and then the new driveway locations would be evaluated, and they may or may not be approved, but most likely the current location is going to be able to stay.
That was our only one concern, because like I said, we're enthusiastic about having more businesses in the park.
So are we. Thank you very much. I think we've gone through all the available opponents. Does anybody have any proponents have some thoughts on this young lady's issue?
I assume this is our rebuttal now?
This is your rebuttal.
Okay, my name is Brent Aaron. I'm a traffic engineer with McKenzie, 1515 Southeast Water Avenue. So when we were looking at the location for access here, there's a couple standards that the city has. One is site distance. We need to meet site distance standards. And then there's 100-foot spacing on a collector. And then in this area, there's an overlay that requires 200-foot spacing between driveways on the same side of the street. So those were the parameters we had to work with. And the city's consultant, DCAS, looked at this as well. I think also the engineering consultant reviewed it as well. But the distance between the driveway on the other side of the street that she was referring to, her driveway, that serves both properties, is 154 feet from the center of our driveway. So it meets that 100-foot spacing. If we had aligned it, which we looked at, it would have less sight distance, though. And it's better to have it at the south end for the truck maneuvering and access, especially if a larger truck comes around the end of the building, then they don't have to kind of make an S-curve to get out. So it meets the current standards. So if either one of those parcels across the street were to develop, they would be able to use that driveway and be able to show that it meets the standards as well, and it meets the sight distance requirements. So I don't think there's anything that would require that driveway to move when that site or those two sites develop.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Any questions? Questions? No. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any more neutral testimony? I think we've gone through everybody. Clint, do you have anything that you want to, as a neutral party here?
I'm just very,
As an observer.
I'm just enthusiastic. I think
Okay.
it'd be a great addition to camp.
Wanted to make sure everybody had their voice here. So at this time, we'll close the public testimony. And so, any questions that you might have of staff at this particular time? Okay. So we'll move into brief discussion and deliberation on this issue. Derek, do you have any thoughts on this?
No, sounds like it meets all the criteria.
John?
Good to me.
Sean?
And nothing.
Chris?
All good.
Larry?
Well, as an old machinist, why didn't you do this 22 years ago?
He'd just cut down on his commute. Make it all about Larry. Okay, so I think that the only real issue, and I want to be clear on this from this body to City Council, is on the number of employees per acre. And so I will entertain a motion to approve the conditional site and design review and conditional use permit for DR 15-07/CUP 1504 for Premier Gear. So I'll entertain a motion for that.
So moved as written. It was put together very nicely by
It was, wasn't it? Yeah. It's been moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chair, I might suggest that you move to the final decisions so that they can hear that get approved before they leave the room.
Okay, so don't leave just yet. We're going to have final decision here.
Need something else?
So I'll entertain it. This have to be in the form of a motion?
Well, we do need to make a motion on this, too, as the written findings of your oral decision you just made.
Okay.
And since you didn't change what was written, it should work just fine.
So I'll
Take
entertain.
care of that for you.
Yes, please.
I would move that we approve the final findings for DR 15-07/CUP 1504.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There we go. Final decision there. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Okay, Brian, do we have any items of interest from from you?
Not really. We've got the next regularly scheduled meeting here shown on the agenda, which would be January 25th, and as of this moment, it doesn't look like we're going to be having a meeting on the 25th.
Okay.
And I guess I did share with you before the meeting started, and I'm excited that Lainey is recovering well and believes that she'll be able to come back on February 4th.
That's great. That would be fabulous. Okay, any items of interest from us to relay on to Brian?
think we skipped over something.
Yeah, new
We did?
business.
What we skip?
Oh, new business. Oh,
We sure did.
We sure did.
Because I
Thank you.
forced you that. It was my fault.
Well, here it is. You get your first pass of the new year, so there you go. So new business. The Northwood Investment Partnership request for a one-year extension of Northwood Estates. That will expire on February 24th of 2017. So are they asking us to extend this beyond 2017?
Yeah, it's an annual extension. They've been doing this for a few years now, and I had an inquiry about this requirement because I didn't draft a staff report related to it, so I thought I'd read my response to Commissioner Tracy Height, in that the plating and the build-out of the entire master plan project, which was Northwood's Estates, consisted of 4 plat phases. And all 4 of those phases are taking longer than they anticipated when they originally did the master plan. They desire to keep that approved master plan in effect, so they are not subject to possible redesign of the original layout and lot configuration and sizes, and the agreement that was related to park dedication that has taken place in the first 2 phases actually satisfies the park requirements for the other 2 phases. So you can see their desire to keep the master concept plan in place. And that agreement that was done originally said that after a certain period of time, it had to be renewed annually. And that's what they're requesting at this time. Staff doesn't have any reason to believe that we've changed any significant regulations that would cause us, if they brought in a brand-new application, to redesign the lots in a different manner. It was a good layout then. It's still a good layout now if they want to continue to phase 3 and 4 as it was originally proposed.
Will that at some point come before this body?
Their new applications for phase 3 and 4 will be before this body. And they must follow the concept plan that was originally approved.
Okay. So, I guess we'll entertain a motion to give the Northwood Investment Partnership a one-year extension to expire on February 24th, 2018. Does that sound about right?
No, it's actually 2017 because it's going from this February in
this
16
February.
to February of 2017.
Okay. Like what I have here, but that's, so to expire on February 24th, 2017, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for that.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve this one-year extension for Northwood Estates as stated.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we grant the Northwood Investment Partnership a one-year extension to expire on February 24th, 2017 for the Northwood Estates Development Agreement and Conceptual Plan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Derek, for catching that.
Motion to adjourn.
It was a test, really, for the new guy.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? There you go. Thank you.